Have you ever wondered why some countries with rich deposits of natural resources struggle economically? What should be a blessing for many nations has instead turned into a nightmare, often because of mismanagement and greed. The natural resource curse is where a country with abundant natural resource wealth fails to utilize them for economic growth. This often results from over-dependency on these resources and a failure to diversify the economy. The curse has been especially prevalent in many less economically developed countries, keeping many stuck in poverty. So, what causes the natural resource curse? Countries caught in a natural resource curse tends to focus all their production on a single industry, such as mining. A surplus of resources allows the country to export these goods to earn foreign currency to buy imports and aid its development. However, a heavy dependence on commodity exports leaves the country vulnerable to global price fluctuations. Natural resources tend to be price volatile, meaning any fall in the price could leave the country's economy in a bad shape. This makes the economy very unstable, which deters foreign direct investment and means employment levels and government tax revenues are very inconsistent. Higher market prices can lead to overproduction as suppliers are eager to make more income. In truth, this actually sends prices falling once again as supply outstrips demand and thus lowering export income. The natural resource curse can also hinder the development of other sectors such as manufacturing or agriculture, as governments may neglect investing in these areas. This means that if the market price for the main commodity export crashes, the entire economy could be upended. In many less economically developed nations, natural resource wealth has facilitated copious amounts of corruption. Government officials may abuse their positions for money or power, resulting in economic mismanagement and damaging the economy. Corruption can shrink any funds available for investment into diversifying the economy into other industries. Natural resource wealth has also led to conflict and violence in many nations, such as the case with Angola's blood diamonds. In the Angolan Civil War, rebel groups used Angola's rich diamond reserves to generate vast sums of cash to aid their war effort. Conflict greatly damages economic growth and can set a country back decades in terms of development. By the end of the Angolan Civil War in 2002, over 500,000 people were killed and around 4 million people were displaced, including many skilled workers. Most of Angola's infrastructure was left in ruins, with more than 60% of Angolans lacking the most basic services such as clean water. Over-reliance on finite natural resources can lead to over-abstraction. Once the resource is all but gone, the economy can see their main export industry collapse, resulting in a negative multiplier effect. Tens of thousands of workers will be left unemployed, leading to a fall in material living standards and forcing them to reduce their consumption. Firms will make less revenue due to less demand and thus may go out of business, causing further unemployment. The government sees its tax revenues from exports, business profits, and income drastically fall, while expenditure on welfare benefits rise, which can lead to a budget deficit and rising government debt. A persistent budget deficit can lead to the threat of austerity measures, which may reduce living standards and exacerbate economic inequalities. The natural resource wealth can also lead to a case of Dutch disease. This is where an overvalued exchange rate damages the price competitiveness of the economy's export industries, which can lead to unemployment and a severe current account deficit. In the late 1970s, the discovery of North Sea oil caused the UK to catch Dutch disease. The value of the sterling exponentially increased. This means imports become cheaper while exports are more expensive, thus damaging many export industries, leading to structural unemployment and many former industrial cities to be caught in a cycle of deprivation. These effects have also been a contributing factor to the North-South divide seen in the UK by exacerbating regional inequalities. Countries with abundant resources tend to have high levels of income and wealth inequality. This is because often a small group of elites own and control the resource wealth while the majority of the population continues to live in poverty. Inequalities often lead to social issues such as deprivation and increased crime, which hurts living standards. Now let us explore a country affected by the natural resource curse. Nauru, the world's third smallest nation by size with only around 13,000 people, once had rich deposits of phosphate ore. Phosphate can be used to produce high-grade fertilizers as well as cosmetics and livestock fodder. As the world population boomed, fertilizers became extremely valuable in order to grow more food and feed more people. As a result, in 1981, Nauru was one of the world's richest countries with a GDP per capita of $27,000 thanks to the large volume of phosphate exports. To put that into perspective, the UK in 1981 had a GDP per capita of $10,420. However, by 2001, the phosphate reserves had been completely exhausted. Consequently, as the export income dried up, unemployment jumped to 90% and public services such as education collapsed. The country's GDP contracted, with GDP per capita plummeting to just $1,884 in 2001. This saw a huge reduction in income and living standards for the people of Nauru. A fall in income meant that Nauru developed a heavy reliance on cheap processed food imports. Coupled with a lack of proper healthcare services, this has led to an obesity epidemic on the island, damaging people's health and shortening their life expectancy. In addition, the mining industry destroyed 90% of the island, along with much of the natural environment, making large parts of the island a heavy eyesore, reducing any tourism opportunities. It also made the agricultural industry almost completely redundant. Unfortunately for Nauru, due to their small size, development of other industries was simply unfeasible. The country was just too restricted by the lack of land and skilled labor needed to diversify an economy. Nauru briefly had a sizable offshore banking sector, but this made it into a haven for tax evasion and money laundering. Subsequent international pressure forced it to tighten banking regulation and stop its offshore banking practices. A sovereign wealth fund was also created to invest the wealth created by phosphate mining, but it was plagued by fraud and mismanagement. Thus, there has not been a decent replacement to the phosphate mining industry. Now, how can a country avoid the natural resource curse? Diversification of the economy is essential to avert dependency on a few industries. A country could use its profits from their natural resource boom to invest into other sectors or set up a sovereign wealth fund. Diversification can be done in many ways, often by encouraging the development of brand new industries. Government policies can include investing in infrastructure, including transportation, energy, and communication systems, to create a more favorable environment for businesses. Moreover, the government can offer tax incentives or other benefits to attract foreign investment. Foreign investment can help create jobs and provide opportunities for domestic companies to expand. Removing protectionist policies and promoting international trade can also help a country gain access to new markets and technologies, broadening their economic competitiveness. For example, much of modern-day Saudi Arabia has been built on crude oil exports. In 2018, crude oil accounted for 90% of the nation's export earnings and 42% of GDP. However, its leaders have recognized the need to transition away from hydrocarbons due to its finite nature and a global focus on renewable energy sources. As such, in 2016, the Saudi government launched an extremely ambitious project known as Vision 2030 in an attempt to fast-track the diversification of the economy. The program aims to inject $3.2 trillion into the economy by investing in sectors like tourism and the construction of mega projects such as the line. The government is also creating 5 special economic zones to attract foreign direct investment and create new job opportunities in the manufacturing and quaternary sectors. The Saudi government is also trying to prop up the tourism industry. Currently, religious tourism from Hajj and Umrah accounts for 20% of the country's non-oil GDP. Some projects include King Salman Park, a large-scale public park and an urban district in Riyadh. The park will be the largest urban park in the world at 16.6 square kilometers, which is an area 5 times the size of New York's Central Park. The park is estimated to cost $23 billion and attract 1.9 million visitors each year. Saudi Arabia's Sovereign Wealth Fund, the PIF, provides investment for many industries such as real estate, sport, and aerospace, and has acquired many international firms. The PIF manages $1.07 trillion worth of assets and has created 1.8 million direct and indirect jobs. If managed correctly, a sovereign wealth fund can provide financial stability and reduce the effects of future economic shocks. So there you have it, a closer look at the natural resource curse, a complex and often perplexing phenomenon that has shaped the destiny of many nations. As we wrap up, remember that while resource wealth can be a boon, it's crucial for countries to navigate these challenges carefully to ensure a prosperous and sustainable future for their citizens. If you found this video informative, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more riveting content. As always, feel free to share your thoughts and questions in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious.